The draft Merchant Shipping General Lighthouse Authorities Increase of Borrowing Limit Order 2024.
I call the Minister to move the motion.
I beg to move that the committee has considered the draft Merchant Shipping General Lighthouse Authorities Increase of Borrowing Limit Order 2024. Ms Harris, it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship today. I'd say Swansea is one of the most famous daughters, but maybe not today, because Bonnie Tyler was also one of Swansea's most famous daughters, and she sang Total Eclipse of the Heart. And as we're talking about lighthouses today, I thought that would be the best reference I could come up with. So, yeah, the order before us today will help facilitate the replacement of general lighthouse authorities, better known as GLAs, ageing and increasingly obsolete fleet of vessels by increasing the amount of borrowing they can access under the Merchant Shipping Act 1995. The GLAs are an amazing organisation. They really, really are. And if anybody here gets a chance to visit either Trinity House Lighthouses or Northern Lighthouse Board and or the Irish Lighthouse Board, which we oversee too, I really suggest it. It's an amazing thing that they do, amazing organisations with great department officials, but particularly those officials who work in the field in the most extreme of circumstances. It's a great bit of my ministry. So they provide aids to navigation, such as lighthouses and buoys. They respond to new dangers to navigation safety, such as shipwrecks, and audit local aids to navigation by ports, harbours and offshore structures such as wind farm, which will increasingly become more important as we move to a green energy superpower as one of our missions. The UK has some of the most busiest and dangerous waters in the world. That is a potentially calamitous combination, and one only needs to reflect on the importance of shipping to us as an island nation. 95% of all our import-export tonnage is transported to us and from us by sea. Now, they have been doing this work for hundreds of years, as we all know. They are experts, they are vital, they need modern, efficient equipment to ensure they can continue to complete this work. The GLAs work their ships and other assets extremely hard. The average economic service life for their vessels is 25 years. Replacements on these timescales is therefore the business as usual for GLAs. New ships are, however, expensive, which brings me to the business before the committee today, Ms Harris. The GLAs are funded by light dues, a hypothecated tax paid by commercial and other shipping interests. They are not paid for by general taxation and make no call on the UK Exchequer for their day-to-day operational costs. The Merchant Shipping Act 1995 recognises that from time to time the GLAs need additional borrowing to be able to afford large capital purchases. However, it also sets a cumulative limit of £100 million on the amount that all three GLAs could borrow. That figure was first included in legislation in 1988. It has not been changed since. It does not recognise inflationary or any other pressures. That figure would, in today's terms, be worth £270 million. It does not recognise the changes in international financial reporting, which have resulted in other costs, such as fixed price costs of contracts being treated as borrowing in accounting terms. The figure also includes all borrowing regardless of source, commercial or government. Although GLAs have been able to keep comfortably within this limit until now, the need to purchase these new vessels means the current limit is now insufficient to meet forecast borrowing requirements. However, the Merchant Shipping Act of 1995 places restrictions on how, when, the power to increase the limit can be used. Firstly, any raise in the limit requires advance approval from HM Treasury. My colleagues have recognised our case and provided that approval. Secondly, the limit can only be increased by order. That is the statutory instrument before us for consideration today. Thirdly, the limit can only be raised by a maximum of £33 million at a time in somewhat ambiguous in the context. Following advice from the Select Committee on Statutory Instruments, we have interpreted this to mean with a single order. Given these legal constraints, we need to raise the limit by a maximum of £33 million this year. Additional orders will be required to raise this limit further in future to ensure the limit keeps step with the GLA borrowing, and we will bring these orders forward for the approval of Parliament in due course. I want to stress that increasing the borrowing limit does not represent a commitment to new funding. Every vessel replacement project will be subject to the highest levels of scrutiny under the Department of Transport, Cabinet Office and HM Treasury spend controls and approval. However, the order is a vital prerequisite to enable GLAs to fund their new vessels through borrowing when they need them. In summary, the work of GLAs is vital to the UK. Ships are critical to delivery of GLA's statutory duties. Their current fleet is reaching the end of its economic service life. Borrowing must be used to facilitate the purchase of replacements. We need to begin raising the limit in line with forecast GLA borrowing requirements. And Ms Harris, I commend this order to the House.
The question is that the committee is to consider the draft Merchant Shipping General Lighthouse Authorities increase of borrowing limit order 2024. Shadow Minister Helen Whately.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And it's a pleasure to be here under your chairmanship to discuss Lighthouse borrowing rules. On this budget day, it doesn't seem to be a good day to be a borrowing rule. Nonetheless, I think in this committee room, we are more inclined to see eye to eye with the government on the necessity of some rule changes. And I expect that all of us here today agree that our general lighthouse authorities need to have up-to-date kit to keep mariners safe. I recognise that 100 million went a lot further in 1998 than it does today, and I realise that vessels cost somewhat more now than they did then. It was good sense for the government at the time to include within the Merchant Shipping Act 1995 a provision to increase that borrowing limit, though I'd say even better sense to cap the increase at 33 million, just in case the present-day government happened to be rather profligate and keen to change rules so they might borrow more. Anyway, I will, focusing on the matter in hand, I would like to be assured that GLAs will make good use of this increase. As an island nation, we always have and always will rely on shipping for trade, travel and connection. Something as a Kent MP, I'm only too aware of, with the world's busiest shipping lane just offshore. Those who operate in UK waters deserve to do so safely. I would like to put on record my thanks to the General Lighthouse Authorities for all they do to ensure that, and we will be supporting this change.
Minister Mike Kane.
Well, I'm grateful to the honourable member. I'm grateful for her support over the difficult issue of the Ruby just off the Kent coast over the last weeks and months as well, and the sensible cross-party cooperation we've come to in securing that vessel and its cargo. I can assure her that I have been absolutely, to use an idiom, blown away by the quality of the GLAs that we have, and again I would encourage members to engage with them, particularly those members from coastal communities around your lighthouses, your buoys, your aids to navigation, and just to see the quality and the breadth and the depth of this operation. It is incredible, and the honourable member is exactly right. 100 million, as I said in my main speech, is worth 270 million pounds today. So this is a sensible measure that doesn't expose Treasury or the department at all, because these are loans effectively to be paid back. So I'm grateful to her. We have an island nation, as we said, and we were often ignorant of our reliance on seafarers and vessels who do so much to support our economy and indeed the work of GLAs. I hope the Chair will indulge me in taking a moment to offer my thanks to the House, to the staff of these organisations. They do go above and beyond every day. I have witnessed firsthand what is necessary in the harshest and most challenging environments, and with climate change as well, the number of days that these operatives can work at sea is reducing. They, together with our Maritime and Coast Guard Agency and the Marine Accident Investigation Branch, are recognised around the world for their world-class standards and expertise. This order is an essential prerequisite to facilitate the purchase of new modern vessels and other equipment the GLAs need to deliver their statutory duties. These are vital to enable them to continue, as they have successfully for hundreds of years, to ensure the safety of all mariners in UK waters.
The question is that the committee has considered the draft shipping General Lighthouse Authorities increase of borrowing limit 2024. As many of their opinions say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. Order, order.
9 minutes. 12